Divi 5 is almost here, and we are stoked here at Divi Engine. Of course, one of our favorite features in Divi 5, and I know it's one of yours, is the Divi Loop Builder, which allows you to build beautiful loops for your products, for your blogs, for all sorts of different types of content on your Divi sites. Now, of course, Divi Engine has been doing this for a long time with Divi Machine, Divi Body Commerce, and to an extent, Divi Ajax Filter. But what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to show you how to build a beautiful editorial dashboard using the Divi Loop Builder, along with our brand new plugin, unless you've been under a rock this week, Divi Loop Extender. Now, you might be asking, what the heck is Divi Loop Extender? Well, it is exactly as the name says. It takes the best parts out of the Divi Loop Builder and extends it even further by giving you more control over how your data is sorted, filtered, and displayed on the page. So without further ado, why don't I show you what we'll be building today here. Okay, so what I've got right here is just a Divi page where we've got posts with the status pending review. We've got some posts with scheduled for publication, so any posts that are scheduled. And then, of course, recently published posts within the last 30 days. Each one of these utilizes a feature in Divi Loop Extender. So if you don't have Divi Loop Extender yet, head over to diviengine.com or the elegant marketplace for your Divi plugins and pick it up. It is actually very cheap and well priced. And why don't we get to it and rock and roll, and I'll show you how to do all this. Okay, good, you're here. So what we're going to be building is this carousel layout using the Divi 5 Group Carousel module. And along with the Divi Loop Extender, we're going to be doing some cool stuff. So to get started, let's go to a fresh page in your Divi 5 website. And this is actually already working with the Divi 5 beta version, which was released about a week ago. What we're doing is we're going to be creating a pending review area, a scheduled for publication section, and then also recently published within the last 30 days. I'll kind of talk you through some of the different settings in Divi Loop Extender that we're utilizing and maybe pontificate on some other ways that you could maybe utilize it. Okay, now I obviously didn't design this page from scratch. I just pulled in one of the pre-made layouts that Divi makes available to us and deleted all the garbage out that I didn't need and so forth. Now we're building a editorial dashboard style site or page, which is only accessible by user roles that are editor, right? So we are going to do some other stuff with conditional logic once we've built this out, and I'll show you how to go ahead and do all that. But let's get started with building our loop, which is the very first step. So first thing we're going to do is under my pending review section here, I'm going to add another row. I'm just going to do a flex equal columns row. And within that, I'm going to add the Group Carousel module. And if you're unfamiliar with the Group Carousel, it is basically a module that will allow you to repeat certain elements of a certain post type. The goal is to activate the loop within that. And you can see here, I like to work in this layout here because things get a little confusing, especially with all these different nested rows and things like that in Divi 5. I love it, but it can get a little confusing. So here we go. I've got my Group Carousel module. Now you'll see as soon as you add that, it automatically adds a Group Carousel slide within that. Now this is where all of our looped elements are going to go. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and add a new group within that. And then that group is what will actually be looping. So what are the elements of a post that we are going to be wanting to add in here? Now, if you don't have a fresh data set that you can use for this, I'm going to be including a link in the description of the video, along with a layout pack or this layout that we will be building today for you to download if you just want a quick start and just want to dive in and start using something like this. Okay, so first thing is I'm adding an image module. And then you'll see it take up a good amount of real estate within that. Now, as we're adding things in here, you can see that you can expand more elements here in the sidebar in the layer view. Now, the next element we're going to probably want here is a heading because posts have headings. And you know, it can be whatever you want. You know, if you look at mine, I included the author. That makes sense. And then maybe also just a button to show or link you to where that thing lives. So let's go ahead. And I like how they've added the plus sign when you hover over the element here, because you remember in Divi 4, it was kind of like hard sometimes to get to what you need to do. So we'll add a text element. And you'll see how we do this, because this all happens with the magic of Divi dynamic data. And then the last element that we need to add here is the button. And what's going to be great about this, and I think you'll like this, is we're going to build out just this first one, because if you can see here on the finished one, we've got 3 of them. All we're going to do is we're going to build the first one, and then we're going to duplicate it, add it to the other ones, and then just tweak the settings. So that is an efficient way to do things. Now, with Divi 5, of course, you can set up a preset for these things, and then you can just replicate it over and over, however you want to do it. Okay, so we've got our basic layout here right now. What we want to do is go on the actual group carousel setting right now. So I've selected it here on the side, and you'll see that you've got a bunch of carousel settings here. I'm going to put mine so that 3 slides show at a time, and I'm going to utilize the center mode setting. Coming back down here, I'm going to go back to my slide. Now the slide is the element that you want to loop, right? You want multiple elements of that to be on the page. So I'm going to go ahead into the loop tab on the slide here, and then I am going to say loop, or activate the loop, not say loop. I guess I do say loop, but you know what I mean, right? And here we go. So a few things happen here. The first thing you'll notice is that this entire pane expands with a bunch of extra options. The first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you've got query type selected, and that your post type is whatever you are wanting to loop through. Now I'm selecting posts because that's what I'm working with. Now you can also go ahead and include only specific taxonomy. I am going to go and select some of my pre-made taxonomies here, which I know will work well with this layout. And the reason I'm doing it this way is because I've got a lot of junk in there, but also to show you how easy it is to filter out different types of taxonomy. Now this is basically, think of this whole area as like a query builder. You're building a query because each thing that I decide here is what it's going to be including in our loop here. But you might be looking at this right now and be like, hey, Robey, that's just the same thing over and over. You're right. What we need to do is go on each of the elements. So on the image, for example, we need to go to the image parameter, or where you would set the image normally, and you click on the dynamic data content, whatever you want to call it, button here. And then all you need to do is tell it, loop featured image. And as simple as that, it'll go through and start looping through your featured images. Now, if I go to the heading, we do the exact same thing. We go to the text here, and then you go dynamic and post title, and then that should pop in. Now, I can see here that this is kind of like popping in and out. This is probably a Divi bug still, but we will address these as we kind of like get to them. Let's just finish hooking up our dynamic data here. So for this text right here, of course, we want the author name. So I will go dynamic data, then I'll say loop the author. And now, you can do some fun things, like if you want before, you can select maybe this pen icon and add that in with a space, and you can kind of see how it makes a space over there for that to go in. And I can go ahead and apply that. And then the last element that we need to work with here is the button. And for the top row, we are going to say review draft. And we are going to go not on the loop, silly me. I am going to go on the button link. And the way that you link the button is you just go, again, dynamic data, and you would say loop link. And I can go ahead and apply that. Now, if I save this, and hopefully this bug goes away when I refresh the page. But here we've got our dashboard with nothing in it. And then if I refresh it, we've got a bunch of stuff in here. And you can see that that thing resolved itself, and it's showing all the fun stuff that we want to see, right? So that's good progress already. We will do a little bit of design work here. I am, as you will know if you follow these videos, I am not a designer. I don't claim to be. I don't want to be. But I can show you how to do the things, or where to find the things that you want to do. Okay. So let's go in here and let's first create a little bit of space for elements and make it look the way we want it to look. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to go on my group here, and I am going to go into the spacing section, and I'm going to add a bit of margin around the sides, about 10 for the top and bottom and 10 for the right and left. And you'll see that that immediately creates a bit of space here, and it doesn't feel as bunched up. I am also going to go ahead and add a border, and I will add a border radius of 5 pixels and just a border of 1 pixel thick. And you can kind of see now how things are starting to look like individual cards. If you want to, I'm going to go ahead and do this, is add additional spacing, which is 10 pixels of padding around the inside, top, bottom, left, right. And you'll see now it's got this nice card effect. And why not go to the image? Let's work on the image next and give it also just the same nice rounded corners that we have. Now I want to show you guys one setting, and I kind of went a bit fast here. I'm going to go back on my group here. So on my group, you can see that we've got the spacing, but let me go on the border settings, right? So I've got the border here. The moment I click on the image, normally what it'll do is go ahead and open up the border settings for that. Doesn't happen every time, but it's something that I like that they did in Divi 5 that looks, or actually just simplifies your workflow, right? And it's cool how you can go in now and edit each of these elements to be the way you want them to be. I'm going to make these H2s for the titles there. And I'm going to use a fairly small font for the text because you don't want it to be too bunched up in there. Because this is obviously, it's a dashboard, right? It's somewhere where somebody wants to go and quickly review stuff. And that is the story with that. So moving on to the text, I thought it'd be fun to just go ahead and add like a cursive font just to make it kind of like look like somebody's handwriting. You do you, but that is what I ended up doing. And last thing is, let's look at the button. We can do some stuff with the button. We'll activate custom styles here on the design tab. I'm going to make the background color just black. And I am going to come to the border, and the border is going to stay at, well, actually, I'm going to make it 5 so it blends with the rest of the borders we've got going on. And the border width is going to be nothing because I don't really care for it. And the last thing is, of course, the text. We are going to make a white color. It's weird that it says that it's already white, but then, oh well. And the button text is going to be 16 pixels, and we've got a pretty decent layout here. Now, what you'll notice on my layout that these things are scooched up a little closer to each other. The reason is the type of container we have on the group here. I go and select the design settings, and I go to the layout, and I select block, for example. You can see how everything gets squished up again and gives you a little bit of a tighter view, maybe something that you'd want in a dashboard like this. Now, you can see that the button doesn't have a lot of breathing room. We'll just click on that real quick. We'll go to the spacing, and I'm just going to add some top margin for it. Let's say 10 pixels and see how that looks. And I think that works just fine. Maybe we'll do the same thing for the title or the heading here. And you can see here how when I clicked into this, it actually did maintain the setting that I'm looking at. And that's starting to look a lot better. The next thing I want to do before we start kind of tweaking this so it's only showing the pending review posts is these arrows don't do much for us when they over the content like this, or not on this particular layout maybe. I'm just going to go ahead on the carousel slide, no, the carousel group settings. You can go to the arrow settings. Now the arrow color, I'm going to leave black. I'm going to keep most of it the same, but I'm going to put it on the outside. And then I'm going to give it a background color of white. And then you get some nifty border settings. And you guessed it, we're going to add 5 pixels there for consistency. And just a 1 pixel border. And when I save this up now, we can go look at the front end and see what it all looks like. Okay, all saved up. And there we go. That is looking fancy schmancy if I don't say so myself. We've got our authors, we've got our titles, we've got the review draft, and you'll see if I click on this, it'll actually take me to that page. How fun. Okay, so now how do we make it only show the pending posts? Let me show you. Oh, and in my demo, I just want to mention I added different colors here for the borders just to kind of indicate the status, not published, scheduled, and recently you can go ahead and do that however you want. I'm not going to waste your time with that. That's a simple setting that I already showed you. So let's go ahead on our journey here. So we've got the carousel slide here because remember, this is where we've activated our loop. So you will know that if you go there and on the right-hand side here, and maybe you've got yours popped out like this, whoop, like this, depending how and where you want it. I like it off to the side here, keeps things nice and neat. And if I come to the carousel slide, of course, this is where our loop lives, and we've already configured some of the settings. Now, we were talking about Divi Loop Extender, right? I haven't done anything with that yet. I don't see any weird settings for it anywhere. Well, that's because it integrates beautifully with what's already available in Divi. So the first settings you'll see here is on the order by. You're going to see additional options here. We've got ACF field, we've got ACF date picker, multiple order by, custom field, all this fun stuff for WooCommerce. All that has been added with the Divi Loop Extender. Our prerogative here is to only have a certain published status, right? Now, there is another setting added by Divi Loop Extender, which is the post status. By default, Divi 5 only allows you to show published posts. Well, we're going to let you do pending review because that is what we're looking at right here. And a quick with this for the time being, because Divi 5 is obviously still in beta, is that it's not updating in the visual builder yet. But if I was to save this right now, let me do that quickly and show you on the front end. If I refresh this, these posts will change. You see, completely different posts. And when I click into it now, it's actually going to show the weird slug type of ID, post ID there. And that is because it's not yet a published post. Now you can have this link to the edit page if that's what you prefer to do. There's a million things you can do. I'm here to show you how we can filter this stuff and order it in a nice way. Okay. Now we've got it ready. All our pending posts are showing here. Let me just quickly go through just one or two of the other settings here. Is that you can include the AND logic for the terms. Now you notice here that we've got 3 different categories selected. What would happen if I toggle AND is that it will look only for posts that are pending review that are in all 3 of those categories. By default, Divi 5 only lets you filter by the OR operator. So if it is technology or fashion or sports, it'll be displayed here. And with Divi Loop Extender, you can do the AND logic there also. You'll see also this relationship type. This can also help you filter posts by specific taxonomy, relationships like the post object or relationship fields in ACF. ACF field matches, a ton of different stuff. You can also show current users' posts. Now that's interesting because let's say Sally von Paris has a dashboard where she needs to be able to access all of her drafts, all of her published posts, and you don't want them to use the the WordPress backend. You can build a page just like this one for her and just place this operator on there so it only shows that user's posts. How awesome is that? Okay, but I'm babbling now. Let's continue going on and we can take a look at what's next. So we've got this column here, we've got this row, and this is our row with our pending review posts. Now the magic is going to happen because we're going to make this super easy. All you have to do now is duplicate the row, drag it down between the other row title that I have here for scheduled, and then we will just expand everything again, and voila. Divi 5 has made it super easy, of course, because now when you click around and you need to edit different things, it'll pop you right into the spot where you want to be for those workflows where you want to repeat a bunch of stuff on a page with some minor tweaks. Now, for scheduled for publication, the only tweak we need to do is to go ahead and select post status to be scheduled. And that's it. Now it'll only show the scheduled posts in this workflow. Now you can still set the amount of posts per page and all that stuff you want to do. And if you have a lot of articles at a time that are scheduled, you might want to increase this to like 100. But I also wanted to show you another thing. So it can be by published date. Now, one of the cool features of Divi Loop Extender is that you can select the multiple order by, and then when you come down, You can say, okay, well, my first order by field is going to be published date. And then we can go, is it ascending or descending? Then I can add another one that says, okay, well, within dates, I want to do it by title and so forth. So you get a lot of different ways that you can organize your data and show what is most relevant first. Cool. So that's it for scheduled for publication. You guessed it. We're going to go ahead and just duplicate this yet again. And I'm going to drag one of them right below this last title for the recently published post within 30 days. Yes, Divi Loop Extender lets you do that. And if I expand my row and my column where you're on the carousel settings and we'll select the slide, we're still, of course, in the loop settings. And now we just need to unset a few things. Now, for recently published, we want to show, of course, published posts. But the thing we want to order by here now is by date. So publish date is what we'll be selecting. Now, when you do select that, this option for publish date method comes up for you. And all you got to do is go select. You can say within the last 7 days, or you can say today and into the future if you want to do upcoming events or something like that. I'm just going to go ahead and select the yesterday and the past X days option. And there I can go ahead and put a custom day count, and I will just put 30. So it just does the last 30 days. You can do whatever you want. Again, let's save it and go check out and make sure that this is actually working. Here on the front end, I'll refresh everything. So you can see here, we've got a scheduled for publication and our recently published posts. I'm going to add one more field in there so you know that I'm not lying to you. And we will add a date field. And that seems to make sense. So to do so, I can just go into the loop here for this one, because this is only really relevant for the scheduled for publication and the recently published posts. And I'll just go ahead and duplicate this field. And on the settings, I'll go to the text and I'll just reset this. And I'll just select the dynamic content again. We can go ahead and then select loop publish date. And then we can do the fun little thing again and maybe add a calendar in there and a space, of course. I'll apply that and you can kind of see that it's in there already, and that's how easy that is. And to add it to the other layout or the other loop layout here, I'll just come right click and paste the module. And let's save that on up and take a look, and hopefully everything is fine. So on the front end, refresh, of course, no dates were added here, but here we've got scheduled for publication, December 20th. It's October 24th now. All these dates are in the future. You can scroll through them. And then here we've got our recently published, and these are all dates in the past. How awesome is that? And that is how you build a simple editorial dashboard. But wait. You're going to ask me, what if somebody else gets his URL? You're absolutely right. Let's make sure that this is only accessible by editors and that other users see a different message. We'll come back here on our layout, and I'm just going to collapse this editor and the non-editor sections. And on that section, what I want to do is go to the Advanced tab, and then we're going to use the Divi conditional logic here for the display option, and then add a condition. And our condition is going to be, if we scroll down here to user, we're going to say user role. And for my purposes, I'm going to say editor and administrator can see this. So here's the operator that you select. Display only if the user is XYZ. You can give it a nice label. I'm not going to do that. I'm lazy. And apply that rule. And then on the non-editor one, which is this message that just says this is for editorial staff only, we'll add another condition. We're going to do the same thing, user role, but I'm going to say is not equal to administrator or editor. So when I apply and save, we're going to go jump back into the front end here. I'll refresh this. And now you can see that I can't see that section anymore. I'm going to take administrator off of there because I have an administrator account right now. And I am just going to make it so that I see that message whenever I go to something I'm not supposed to be seeing. So if I go to editor here, I go to my condition, take administrator off, and then save. On the front end, refresh. I get that same message that says, this page is for editorial staff only, and it's that easy to make a user dashboard. Really couldn't be any easier. So that's really cool. I noticed that I didn't change the text on the buttons. That literally is as easy as going and saying here in the text, review scheduled post, for example. And it's weird how this first one doesn't update immediately. That might be a Divi 5 bug still. And then you can go and update the text there. But that's how you do it. That is how you build an editorial dashboard with Divi 5, the beta version, and Divi Loop Extender, Divi Engine's brand new plugin, available now. So go to diviengine.com and check it out. And that's that. How cool is that, guys? It is amazing what you can do with Divi 5 and the loop builder right there in the Divi builder for your WordPress sites, and how awesome it is for developers because the new API allows us to do things that weren't possible before. So the Divi Loop Extender was a result of that. We saw that we can integrate very tightly and deeply with the Divi 5 theme, and already in beta, it's shaping up to be an absolute beast. Now, we are definitely excited for Divi 5 to launch. We're hard at work recoding all of our existing plugins, and we are very excited to release some new stuff here in the near future. You'll see that, and our Divi 5 progress is something that is ongoing and definitely gonna be exciting for us, for you, and for anybody that's building websites out there. Now, if you love Divi 5 and you love Divi Engine, or even if you like Divi Engine, why don't you like and subscribe to the channel? Check us out at diviengine.com and tell us what you want us to make content on. I am motivated to do new content all the time now. So do it. Just go do it. Do it. All right, man. Guys, this has been Robey from the Divi Engine team. Check out Divi Loop Extender. Check out Divi 5. I'm going to catch you guys in the next video real soon. Bye for now.